And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Red Devils. Manchester United all but through to the next round of the Europa League after that dramatic winner last night from Bruno Fernandes. But once again, a very frustrated performance from United, who continue to sort of switch off moments, concede a goal. But I think the main thing is worrying is just the lack of being able to score goals, and we relied on an own goal from Jack Buckland before Sandro Martinez teed up an absolute pearl of an assist. And very well taken by Bruno Fernandes in the last minute. So the main thing is we're through to the next, all but through to the next round. And I think that's kind of, where we are as a club. It's not really about performance at the moment. It's kind of about where these performances take us. And like, for example, last night, not the best performance, but we got a victory. And if you're now going to look at the Europa table, for example, we're kind of sitting in fourth. 4 points behind Lazio, who are through, guaranteed. And a win next week will guarantee us a spot in the round of 16. And it's a very important to note that obviously with the change of format, no Champions League sides will be dropping down into the Europa League. So what we're seeing on sort of the Europa League table is what we're going to get. And what we're going to be doing by making sure we're in the top 8 is removing a fixture. There's playoffs, for example, 9th through to 24th. In the Europa League, they're going to a playoff where they play against each other for the top 8 spots there, and then they go and join the top 8 at the moment, which currently consists of Lazio, Eintracht Frankfurt, Athletic Club Bilbao, Man United, Lyon, Tottenham, Anderlecht FC, SB. Other sort of clubs, big clubs to look out for, but are Galatasaray around there, but Olympiacos, obviously Rangers, Ajax, Real Sociedad, Roma, but Porto at this stage potentially missing out. So there are some good sides over there, but the big thing I think when it comes to United is we have beaten better sides than any of the sides in the Europa League this season. We've beaten City, who are a better side than most of those in the Europa, or I think all of them, obviously. We've beaten, we've drawn to Liverpool, we've taken to Arsenal, which are also better clubs than this of the year. So I think at the moment we still very much stand as one of the favourites, even despite the fact that we're not playing particularly well. But in the Europa League, for example, we've now got 4 wins in a row, which is good to see, and we managed to turn the season around a little bit. However, last night still showed some of the cracks in this United side. The fact that we struggled to score goals, and we had great chances. We really did have very good chances last night, and we could have scored 2-3 at a stage. But I think the main thing is we're creating too few chances, if you ask me, and not taking them. And we'll look at some of the stats in a little bit and kind of look at how this team is starting to progress and what we can kind of read into last night. But again, the main thing I'm sort of really focused on is results. I think that you're kind of hoping that the performances, for example, and that, what we saw in terms of a very, very sloppy performance at times last night, they will sort of progress, as Ruben Amorim sort of settles in, as the teams get used to playing in the formation. I think something like Garnacho, for example, is really starting to look a lot more of a threat, a lot more comfortable in playing the position than he was maybe a month ago. So we are definitely going to see a little bit of progression. Also, it was quite good to see Toby Collier last night. Made a couple of mistakes, but he's going to make mistakes. And I think that's the big thing, is that, we need to be very open when it comes to players like Toby Collier, because if he can settle into that midfield, he can save us a lot of money if we don't have to go into the market and buy 2-3 midfielders, maybe look at one additional midfielder. I thought Christian Eriksen definitely sort of makes a difference if you can get him onto the field. Maybe not so much on the defense because, he doesn't quite have the legs that he used to, but he's a really, really strong passer of the ball. And it adds a lot to the side in terms of being able to create those moments and the likes. So I'm just going to bring up some of the stats from last night and kind of just look at where we were good and where we were poor. So just need to quickly move this slightly. Right, and I think that should be there. Yeah, there we go. So that's pretty much what I want to look at the moment. And so if we look at some of the stats over here, this is kind of what I want to look at. And that was possession. So we dominated possession, which is not something we're actually used to recently. But three big chances, 16 shots, 2.69 expected goals. We did have to say quite a few. Obviously, I thought had quite a good game last night. I don't think you can really blame him for the goal that was scored. But the nice thing as well, scored a goal off corner, which was then disallowed, but looked threatening a corner. So it was nice to see a bit of a change in terms of it actually looking like a threat. But again, I think 16 shots, for example, three big chances, only one goal scored from the boot of United player, the other one being an own goal, is a little bit worrying. I mean, you look at, for example, the shots, us versus Rangers. Rangers had far fewer, and I think this was a good sign in terms of the defense. The fact that they only had one shot really on, well, that was the goal, obviously, but I think big chances created, three big chances created, but only not too many shots in the box itself. Whereas you look at United, for example, far more chances inside the box, and that's the thing that we want to start creating. We want to be playing inside the box, creating good chances inside the box, which I think we're definitely getting there. So if we look, for example, over here, defending, for example, I'll tell you what, I'm going to just move this slightly and look at some of the individual stats over here, because I thought that once again, that Manuel Ugarte had an absolute stormer of a game, and we'll bring his stats up over here. When he came on? Here we go. Just give me 2 seconds. Right, so this was when he came on. So 17 minutes, but was getting involved, won a couple of duels, stuff like that. Actually, want to find better stats, to be honest. Yeah, I actually thought he was full of energy, but I think the main thing is you look at this, for example, some of the player ratings and the likes of that. We could do that over there, shall we? I thought that Garnacho, as seen there, was very good. I thought Ericsson suits the number 10 role, doesn't he, in terms of being able to pick the passes and the likes. But it's difficult to get him in the side given the lack of kind of legs he has. And unfortunately, I think he's going to struggle for game time. He will depart in the summer. That I've little doubts about. But if you can get him into that side, he offers you quite a lot. But that's pretty much for last night. Now we sort of turn our focus once again to the Premier League. And a very winnable fixture coming on Sunday. Very used to sort of Thursday, Sunday. But it's a big weekend for the Premier League in terms of some big clashes, because you've got City versus Chelsea. You've got Villa versus West Ham. Should be a nice game. Liverpool taking on Ipswich, so hopefully McKenna can try and do a bit of a job there. Wolves are hosting Arsenal, so you expect a result there. So our game is on Sunday at 9 o'clock. I mean, it's a very, very late night game for a Sunday, up against Fulham. 7 o'clock on Sunday. And late kickoff, which is quite interesting, but hopefully a straightforward result. We're going away to Fulham, yes, but these are games you've got to be winning very comfortably. These are games you can't be really even worrying about. You can't be sitting there not being able to beat a Fulham and the likes of that. So let's get into some of the transfer news, shall we? And before we focus on the weekend. And a bit of an update from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, Marcus Rashford no longer involved in the squad at all. Was a part of training. He was there at Old Trafford last night. He even posted a bit of a story saying, "Come on, the lads," and the likes. But not even on the bench for United, as expected to leave. But the big thing I think from this, the main reason I wanted to show this was this over here, joining Real Betis very soon. So hopefully we're going to get that confirmation today. I think that that deal is pretty much all signed and sealed from the signs of it. It was quite interesting that he was on the bench yesterday, but I'm hoping that in the next day or two we will see that move for Antony go through, and he will become a Real Betis player. A couple of updates, obviously, from Romano. The big thing as well is that Chelsea have come in for Alejandro Garnacho. Apparently, a £60 million price tag is not going to scare them away. And nice thing for United is if you've got two potential bidders and the likes, then that gives a bit more sort of bidding power. And there's quite a lot that from Mr. Romano was tweeting about Garnacho. Obviously, the big thing was what Ruben Amorim had to say last night, saying, I think he has the potential to be so much better in every situation of the game. What I can say is he understood what I was trying to do. I just want to help them, but at the end of the day, it's them who do the job. So I do think that we're starting to see, and this is actually, we can actually do a bit of a clip on what he was doing.
On the games and this year?
That was more about Garnacho. So this is the big thing. This is sort of the update on his future, saying he's here playing for United, and United we will see in the next few days. And then saying Chelsea are prepared to bid for Garnacho after the initial approach made yesterday. So in terms of Garnacho, I mean, if Chelsea are keen, if Napoli are keen, I want more than £60 million, to be perfectly honest. I would love us to go and get 65, £70 million. Go and get a price tag that goes, yeah, actually, that was a good sale. That was actually really well done. And go and get some money from him. And because, again, it's pure profit in terms of the financial regulations. And by the way, the club has apparently actually sent communication to fans saying that they might be guilty of, or they might have issues with the spending and the likes of that. So as a result, they are going to potentially, that was that sort of justifying the potential ticket price hike and the likes of that. On a more positive update is that United are expected to submit a new bid for Patrick Dorgu, which is Fabrizio Martin now saying is imminent. So we expect that to hear today. It will be over £30 million, €30 million rather, with Lecce wanting close to the €40 million margin. So hopefully we're getting a bit closer to where they want and what we sort of value him as. This is a move I want to see getting over the line sooner rather than later. You know, if they accept the bid, for example, get him in a medical. Let's have him ready for next week, Thursday, for example, in a game where it's not massively important for us to get, I think, just a draw next week. It's not a massively, it's a team I think we should be beating, for example. That could potentially be a debut. If not, we've got Spurs in in February, we've got that Leicester FA Cup tie. So it's a bit more difficult to try and get him, a debut and the likes of that. So I think next week, Thursday, would have been a very nice opportunity. Even Fulham, for example, if we had actually operated this week, could have been a nice game. But the main thing is that deal is progressing and looks like we will hopefully see that come good in the next few days. So at this stage, we still got nothing done in the transfer window. Quite frustrating when you think we're 24th of January, and this is kind of the issue, isn't it? We continue to really struggle to get things over the line, to really try and get these moves done and the likes. And it's so frustrating that we're sitting here 24 days of the transfer window, no departures, no incoming, and now it's a bit of a mad scramble in the last week and a bit to get these deals done. You know, Patrick Dorgu, I think, should have been in the club already. I think that we should be looking at our second potential signing, if we are looking at a second potential signing. For Casemiro, if there was any sort of bid, any possibility, he should have left by now. Marcus Rashford, he should be left by now. Antony should have been left by now. So United continue to be really, really poor in the transfer market, just getting these things done. You know, look, it has been quite a quiet transfer window in general, and I think we're seeing a lot of clubs suddenly under the sort of the regulations having to cut back a bit on their spending. I think we will see a bit of a flurry next week. You know, we often see a slow start to the January transfer window, and then the last week we suddenly see a few more deals materialize. But it has been pretty quiet, and from United point of view, it's been stupidly quiet because there's literally been absolutely nothing that has happened so far in the transfer window. So a bit frustrating, but not panicking just yet. I just do want to see us hopefully bring at least one player. I'd love to see us bring in a second as well. But I think departure is almost as important in terms of getting Antony out of the squad and getting him played somewhere else where you can try and find a bit of form and get a bit of value from him in the summer. Marcus Rashford getting back on the football field, you know, and the likes of those players, trying to see how we can offload Casemiro and the likes, even if he's on loan, saves a bit of wages, for example, but more to the point, kind of puts him in the shopping window. I think that's an important thing. The big reason we want to get our loans done in terms of outgoing is to put them in the shopping window. Go and play well in Serie A, you know, from a Marcus Rashford point of view, or Barcelona and the likes of that, where then we can go and get a transfer fee for you in the summer. Because it looks like, Marcus Rashford's United career is done. I don't see how he comes back from this, in all honesty. But now it's about what kind of fee can we get, and the only way we're going to get a fee for him is if we can go and get him playing. We can go find some form, go and score 10, 15 goals. Somewhere in this time, or 10 goals, I think would be a really good return in the second half of the season. And if you can go do that, for example, at Barcelona, then all of a sudden his price hopefully should be half decent come the summer. So we need to get these deals done a lot quicker. It's really frustrating me that we are taking so long. But yeah, in terms of the Ruben Amorim press conference, it would have been an embargoed section from last night's Europa League, so that will be probably about 3:30, I imagine, today, or 1:30 rather, will be released. So we'll keep you updated on that and try and see if we can put a couple of clips up of that. We'll look at it basically, and then we'll have a preview ready out tomorrow for the Fulham game, and then obviously we'll have some content on Sunday from the game itself. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well.